Hello, and welcome back to our video series on the basics of Microsoft Excel. In this video, we are going to look at how to do sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis is a type of analysis where you look at different combinations of assumptions and examine the results. If you look back to our video on cell reference examples, we actually did something very similar to a sensitivity analysis. In this video, we will show you how to do it much more easily.
Let's take a very simple example. Say you're depositing $100,000 in your bank account. Let's call it a CD account. This type of account is going to have an interest rate of 10% per year. Now in reality, we would get less than 0.15%, but for the sake of this example, we'll be using a 10% return. We want to leave the money in the account for 5 years.
Luckily, Excel has a built-in function to calculate the future value. We would type equals FV and a suggestion box would pop up, asking first for the rate, which is our interest rate, comma. Then it asks for the NPER, which stands for number of periods, which in this case is 5 years. Then it asks for the PMT, which is the payment, which in this case is not relevant because we have a one-time initial deposit, so we'll type a comma. Then it asks for the PV, which is the present value, which in this case is our initial deposit. We can ignore type in this situation because it is not relevant.
After closing the parentheses to calculate the future value of your $100,000 today, we see that the future value is negative. Logistically, this is impossible. I need to go back and say that the present value is negative $100,000. This is because you are giving the money away today so that you can get the money back later. And as we can see, the value is now positive.
But now, what happens to this $161,000 if we change the interest rates to 5, 8, 10, 12, or 15%? Or if we change the number of years we keep our money in the account for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10 years?
What I have set up here to use is what we call our what if or sensitivity analysis. We want to compute the future value for the various interest rates and number of years at the same time. As you can see, we have different interest rates along row 9 and different number of years in column B.
There is a blank space at the top left corner of our table between the two variables. Set this cell equal to your future value equation, as that is the response variable of interest. I want to see the effects of the different interest rates and number of years we have selected. To do this, I'm going to select the entire space, including the empty cells I want to populate. Then I'll click on Data and What If Analysis, and then I will click on the Data Table selection. When you click on this option, it will ask you for the row input cell. This is the number in your equation that you would like to replace with the numbers along the row of your table. In this case, our row is interest rates, so we select C3, our interest rate. The column input cell is what number in your equation you would like to replace with the column, which in our case is number of years. So I'll select C4 for the number of years.
When you click OK, your data table is automatically filled out. We have formatted this particular table so that everything comes out clean. That is, only having 2 decimal places. However, if you wanted to change this particular format, you could select the data table, go to this area here, and click this button to either decrease the amount of decimals or increase the amount of decimals present. You can play around with this option so that you can use it in your later models.
But how do we know if our model is working correctly? In order to check and make sure it's working, I can check in the table where our interest rate is 10% and our years is 5. We can check this versus our initial calculation because they have the same inputs. And if you look, they're the exact same number, meaning our model is working correctly. This has been our lesson on sensitivity analysis of our Excel tutorial series. Thank you for joining us.